All right, I have some great stories for you today. Whether you're listening on Spotify or YouTube, I really appreciate you tuning in. First, we're going to start off here in Texas. UT Austin lays off around 60 staffers to comply with Texas DEI ban. What exactly is the ban? SB 17. The bill prohibits all state funded colleges and universities from establishing or maintaining diversity, equity, and inclusion offices and bans the hiring or assignment of an employee to perform the duties of a DEI office. It also prohibits institutions from soliciting DEI statements from job candidates or giving preference to any applicants on the basis of race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin. And it bans any mandatory diversity training implemented in reference to race, color, ethnicity, gender identity, or sexual orientation. I see it being perfectly fine to have a law like this. You shouldn't be hiring anybody based on race, what they identify as, if they identify as free spirited or they identify as a cat. It shouldn't be anything like that. It should be based off of meet the minimum qualifications for the job itself or to get into the school itself, not based on race or anything like that. At the begin, now continuing here. At the beginning of the year, UT Austin closed its Multicultural Engagement Center, which housed student groups like Latinx. I don't know anybody who identifies as Latinx, Community Affairs, the Asian Desi Pacific Islander American Collective, and queer and trans Black, Indigenous people of color and allies. It also shut down Monarch, a program that offered support and scholarships to undocumented students. Members of these groups said they have struggled to continue the organization's work on campus. This is great news. We shouldn't have, this is just a waste of money. This is a waste of money here. We're having these queer, trans, Black offices, all these woke offices is just a waste of money. So I'm glad these things got shut down. On Tuesday, the university went a step further and announced it's closing the Division of Campus and Community Engagement and layoffs of employees who had formerly worked on DEI. Yeah, so Texas is going to crack down on this. And, there has been some concern that they would try to find ways around this. Like Texas Senator Brandon Creighton says he's the author of SB 17. He said he was deeply concerned that universities were making superficial changes to comply with SB 17, like renaming offices or job titles. This letter should serve as notice that this practice is unacceptable and also a reminder that SB 17 encompasses stringent enforcement provisions, including the potential freezing of university funding and legal ramifications for non-compliance. So Texas will be checking on universities, seeing if they're compliant with this nonsense and not skirting around it. There will be a hearing next month to monitor state universities' progress on implementing SB 17. University chancellors were asked to give updates on how they're eliminating DEI initiatives. I love seeing this stuff. I love seeing it because this is how you keep the country, you keep sanity inside the country. You do it at the state level. More states that start doing this, red states that start doing this, you're going to bring things back to normal, bring things back to reality, and level the playing field versus giving an advantage to somebody because they're Black, or because they identify as 400 pounds, or because they identify as a cat with 3 heads. All this woke nonsense is BS. You don't give advantages to people just because of the color of their skin. It's not okay. If you are applying for a job, you want to get that job based on merit, and also providing scholarships to undocumented people, offering support and scholarships to undocumented students. Stop this nonsense. Look, I'm not against immigration. I've said that before. I'm against illegal immigration and being here illegally and trying to take advantage of the system that is allocated for U.S. citizens. Make sense? Or if you're a resident, if you're in the process of doing things the right way, that's fine. But if you just come across the border and expect to get a scholarship, sorry, doesn't work that way. Also out of the state of Texas, Texas' first safe haven baby box installed in Abilene. What is this? The first safe haven baby box in Texas opened Tuesday at a fire station in Abilene. The baby box is located at Abilene's fire station number 7, North Pioneer Drive. What is this baby box?
First city in the state of Texas to get a safe haven baby box. It's been installed at fire station number 7 on Pioneer Drive. Now, this is for new parents unable to provide for their infants who are 60 days or younger, and they're able to surrender them anonymously and safely. It's in the hope of giving that child a chance for a better life. The new baby safe haven boxes are built by a company in Indiana. When a child is surrendered, it's placed in a temperature-controlled and secure holding place. Once the child is dropped off anonymously, the safe box then alerts the proper authorities to retrieve the infant.
We have 212 active boxes in 16 different states across America. We have probably 50 to 100 boxes that have already been shipped out that are at locations that they're working on installation and alarms. And so we'll probably have over 300 boxes by the end of the year. We call it a blessing of the box. So we just bless the very first box in the state of Texas. It's an amazing day today.
West Texans for Life, a pro-life activism group here in Abilene, worked to bring the program to the key city, raising $20,000 to put it into action.
All right, so this is how you.
The first city in the state of.
This is to me, this is a great idea, and we're going to continue to see what this organization has done. It says Safe Haven Baby Boxes has referred over 500 women to crisis pregnancy centers, assisted in 9 adoption referrals, and have had over 140 legal safe haven surrenders. The organization says 43 babies have been surrendered in baby boxes, and 3 babies were surrendered directly to firefighters at safe haven baby box locations. Now, this is great news because, look, the abortion issue is very controversial. It's extremely controversial. And Texas, there was a 6-week ban on abortion, and now that Roe v. Wade has been overturned, the states can do what they want to do with this issue. Now, this is good because it provides alternatives to women. It provides alternatives. If you cannot provide for your child for whatever reason, there are options for you. You can go to one of these baby boxes. The more of these we have, the better it's going to be. Go to a baby box. You don't have to go through the process of finding a family. They take care of all these things for you. And you're seeing it in Florida with the 15-week ban upheld. Democrats are foaming out of the mouth because they're seeing Florida as winnable. Even a 15-week ban is not good enough for them. They want more. They want much more than that. They want to go higher than that. But this is what Trump is saying on the abortion issue. The reason why he says you need to find a middle ground on this is because you have to win elections. And if you can't win elections, you can't implement your agenda. That doesn't mean Trump is pro-choice, that he wants babies to be aborted. Trump is saying that coming out with the 6-week ban right out of the gate on a national level is too extreme, because you're not going to win on that issue. That's what he's saying. You're going to, if you find a middle ground, 12, 15 weeks, and I'm not saying that I agree with that or disagree with that. I'm just saying this is what he's saying. This is what I get from it. You come to a middle ground on this, the 15-week, because most people, even if you are pro-choice, a lot of people they think it's too extreme going past that 12 to 15 mark. After that first trimester, it becomes a little bit too extreme. So if you find a middle ground on this, you can win elections and you could start implementing your agenda even further. And providing alternatives like this at the state level is a great idea. And I see what Trump is saying by that. He's not pro-life, pro-choice, want babies to be killed. He's not pushing for that. He just wants to be able to win elections because Democrats continue to win on this issue. It gets them energized, it gets them foaming out of the mouth, it gets them to the polls. That's the thing. If you cannot win elections, you cannot implement your agenda, point blank. But this is great. This is very good news here in the state of Texas. I want to see more of these installed around the country. But let's keep going here. Speaking of elections, Trump and RNC raised $65.6 million in March. This is nuts. It's from Political. Former President Donald Trump and the RNC have they raised $65.6 million in March, ended with $93 million in cash. This is what the new RNC chairman had to say about this.
We're very excited that we got $65 million in the door in March alone, with the president being a presumptive candidate, a presumptive nominee for only 3 weeks in that month. We're excited about the fundraising that we've seen since he became our nominee. We've got a huge event coming up down in Florida this weekend. We're going to raise over $40 million additional dollars for it. So we'll have the resources to take our message from one end of the country to the other.
That's great. That's the new RNC chairman, Michael Watley, if I said that correctly. He's doing a great job so far from what I've seen, raising lots of money for Donald Trump because he is the presumptive nominee. And there were some concerns that he was not going to raise a lot of money compared to Joe Biden, as Biden just raised $26 million from this celebrity-studded fundraising event he had, Bill Clinton and Obama there. He also had more cash on hand than Trump, with $71 million compared to $33 million at the end of February. The Biden still has an advantage, but that gap is closing. And that's what he had to say about Laura Trump being by his side at the RNC. She is the co-chair now.
We could not have a better co-chair. Laura Trump is an absolute force of nature. She helps us on fundraising. She helps us with grassroots. She is great on air. Anywhere that we need her to go, she will go. And we were just together on Monday doing a number of different events. I could not ask for a better co-chair.
That's excellent news, because Laura Trump, she's not a moderate. She's not a Ronald McDaniel type. She's not a rhino. She's none of those things. You know, I've seen her interviews. And as Bongino says, he knows her personally, and she's exactly who you see on TV. Very conservative, pushing the conservative agenda, pushing extremely hard to get Donald Trump reelected, and making sure that we have free and fair elections. And I'm glad that we have her now, because things are not being done properly at the helm, with Ronald McDaniel at the helm. We take a look at the spending over the years. Let's see, between October 20th, 2022 and November 2023, the RNC spent $128 million compared to the DNC's $156 million. They spent less on payroll, but you look at office supplies, $297,000 compared to $45,000 for the DNC. Management consulting over $1 million compared to just over $100,000 with the DNC. Donor gifts $615,000 compared to $500,000. Floral arrangements $70,000 compared to just $795 for the DNC. And then you take a look at these other categories. Voter file maintenance. DNC spent $235,000 on that. Probably maintain the files of dead people and things like that. While the RNC spent $39,000. Media booking consultants $116,000 to $0. Limousines $263,000 to $7,000. Get out the vote texting $86,000 to over $1.6 million for the DNC. Transfers to state parties $13.8 million for the RNC. 23.8 for the DNC. And you see where the spending was. The DNC spent more money where it counted, not on limousines, flowers. They spent money on getting out the vote and transferring the funds to their candidates and their state parties. That's where it counts, and that's where the RNC fell short. That's why people were not giving as much money to the RNC. They were not happy with Ronald McDaniel. Instead of focusing on winning elections, she was out buying flowers. Yeah, so I'm glad that we've had a change. We have two people there that are aligned with Trump and want to get him reelected. And they're focusing on voter fraud, which is going to be huge, very important in 2024. Now, speaking of voter fraud, this is great news right here, and this could help Trump. Wisconsin voters ban Zuckbucks after effectively overriding their Democrat governor's past vetoes. It's from the Blaze. It says Wisconsin has joined 27 other states in making it more difficult for ideologues with deep pockets, such as Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg, to financially meddle in elections. The Democrat governor Tony Evers has vetoed multiple efforts to keep so-called Zuckbucks out of elections in the Badger State. The state's Republican-controlled legislature figured lawmakers would give their constituents the final word on the matter, successfully voting to put corresponding constitutional amendments on the April primary ballot. It says the first question put to voters on the ballot Tuesday was whether Section 7.1 of Article 3 of the Wisconsin Constitution should be amended to prohibit all levels of government and all state employees from applying for, accepting, spending, or using money or equipment in connection with the conduct of any primary election or referendum if the monies or equipment are donated or granted by an individual or non-governmental entity. This is fantastic news. Zuckbucks was huge in 2020. The Zuckerbucks' extensive funding of election administration during the pandemic was anything but benign. That the funds benefited then candidate Joe Biden in 2020 to the tunes of thousands of votes, and I agree with that. Zuckerberg illegal absentee ballot drop boxes scattered across Wisconsin specifically served to help Democrats, and it did. I mean, look, there was lots of money put in by Mark Zuckerberg and his wife in these swing states, hundreds of millions of dollars put into swing states. State Rep Tyler August said in 2020 alone, Wisconsin received over $10 million in Zuckerbucks. 85% of the money was directed to the 5 wildly Democrat cities: Madison, Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, and Green Bay. NBC News noted that this $10 million from Zuckerberg and his wife was mediated by a group called Center for Tech and Civic Life, which was founded by Zuckerberg. So he did this in Wisconsin, Georgia, basically all the swing states. This happened. Spending lots of money, infusing lots of money into these districts in these cities run by Democrats, juicing the vote to get out the vote for Joe Biden. You saw it in Wisconsin. You saw it in Pennsylvania. You saw Pennsylvania changing the election laws without going through the state legislature. You can't do that. So this is one thing that helped Biden take Wisconsin in 2020. And I'm glad that we're seeing more states. We're seeing 28 states ban Zuckbucks. Here in Texas, we did this a long time ago. Florida's done it. Just about every red state has done this, and I'm happy to see that Wisconsin has joined the list because we want to make sure that people feel like the vote is secure in these elections. And now with a bunch of drop boxes, 24-hour voting, things like that, designed to help the Democrat candidate. But more good news from Wisconsin. Mayoral upset in Wisconsin signals trouble for Joe Biden. It's from Breitbart. Incumbent Democrat Mayor Katie Rosenberg of Wausau, if I'm saying that correctly, Wisconsin, lost her re-election bid in the race that the far-left Milwaukee Journal Sentinel says could represent trouble to come for Democrat candidates later this year, and in particular Joe Biden. Rosenberg, the Republican incumbent mayor, by 5 points in 2020. This happened in the heart of the pandemic, and her acceptance speech was memorable of 2 words: holy balls. Okay. Since then, 2020, Rosenberg has been seen as a rising star in the Democrat Party area and even a potential candidate for governor. But that all changed Tuesday morning. Early results showed that Rosenberg just under 40% of the vote, compared to Doug Diney had over 52% of the vote. So this is good news. We had a flip in Wisconsin, from Democrat to back to Republican, and then we had Wisconsin voters banning Zuckbucks in the state of Wisconsin. This is something to be happy about. Now, lots of work ahead of us. It's going to be a tough election, but these are things that are going to make a difference in November 2024. All right, now I'm going to finish off this episode here with a story that'll make your heart warm a little bit. LSU's women's basketball team loses in Elite Eight after skipping National Anthem while Iowa team held hands on the court. Let's check it out. Unbelievable. As you can see them holding hands together, and LSU was nowhere to be found. Let's check out what the head coach had to say about this.
Honestly,
Head coach of LSU.
I don't even know when the anthem was played. We kind of have a routine where we are on the floor, and then they come off at the 12-minute mark.
That's when
We just, I don't know, we come in and we do our pregame stuff. I'm sorry. Listen, that's nothing intentionally done.
You know good and well that is intentional. And you lost. I'm not saying this is the reason why you lost, but it's satisfying to see that these girls got clobbered, but they lost, not by a whole lot, by 7 points, but they lost to Iowa. It was great. I'm glad to see this. And this is from Chessa Boucher. LSU is never on the court for the national anthem. She says that she's been covering them for 3 years. She said, if you ever go to an actual LSU game, you'll see that they're never on the court for the anthem. It's that simple. I've covered them for 3 years, and they've never been. Iowa star Caitlin Clark scored 41 points and dished out 12 assists in the game on Monday. I've heard a lot about her lately. So apparently, she's the Michael Jordan of women's basketball. And Paul Pierce, I'll get into that in another episode, but he said something like a white girl beating a bunch of black girls. So, of course, this idiot throws race into it. You know, Paul Pierce used to be one of my favorite players, top 5 probably. But he says some stupid things, so I don't really pay attention to him. I don't really think of him like I did before. When you open your mouth about stupid stuff, my opinion about you changes. But yeah, I'm going to leave that right there for today. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to give you a few stories going on around the country and here in the great state of Texas. If you're listening on YouTube, thanks for listening. Spotify, I appreciate you. Hit that follow button or that subscribe button, and I will see you next time. And thanks for listening to the Mixed Texan Report. Have a good day.